United States Supreme Court Justice William Brennan is being tested at the Mayo Clinic tonight. Prostate trouble. At age 81, Brennan is senior member of the court. He's also regarded by many as the court's leading opponent of reactionaries, or as some call him, liberal. Brennan is the third Supreme Court justice treated this year for prostate problems. Justice Harry Blackmun completed his latest treatment Friday. Justice Lewis Powell already has retired. Robert Bork, the nominee to replace Justice Powell, today disclosed that until October 1985, he belonged to a private club that barred women members. Bork's response to a Senate questionnaire indicated he hired few women and no blacks or other minorities for his staff since becoming a federal judge in 1982. With thousands of athletes from Latin America competing in the Pan American Games, Spanish is being heard about as often as English around Indianapolis these days. Trouble is, many Americans say, that is the case in a lot of places around the country, and they don't like it. CBS News national correspondent Bernard Goldberg reports on a gut issue of growing importance.
Where do you vote?
Georgia McKinney is a soldier in a war of words, a war over language.
This is the Florida English campaign to make English the official language of Florida.
So she goes to shopping centers and gathers signatures on petitions to put the issue on the ballot, to force the state to conduct its official business in English, English only.
Why should the Spanish have more right than anybody else from a different country?
Why should the people in this country start learning Spanish just to help the Hispanics, you know?
There's no attempt to establish Spanish.
All right, all right.
Miami, where county government already has an English-only law, commissioners have just agreed to let the voters decide if they want to repeal it.
The language of the country is not put up to a vote. Would they do it in Japan? Would they do it in Germany? Would they do it in Cuba? No. They won't say Miami Paradise Lost. They'll say Miami a Spanish-speaking hellhole.
It's part of a national debate, and it's growing in intensity. On one side, so-called Anglo-Americans who say they don't want to feel like foreigners in their own country. On the other, Hispanics, the fastest-growing minority in America, who say they have rights too, that the English-only drive is bigoted, discriminatory, and aimed at them.
I think that there are people who want to keep Hispanics down. They don't like for us to maintain a separate identity or a separate culture, if you will. And it only bothers them because of the numbers, because we are talking now about maybe 20 million people and growing.
So far, 13 states have declared English their official language, meaning government can't do business in any other language. 5 states acted this year alone. And while the law may only be symbolic in places like North Dakota, it's not symbolic in places like California, where immigration is high and where many Anglos fear someday they may be the minority.
We need to have a common language. We need to have a bond that unites us all. And English should be it.
I believe in the theory of the mosaic, not of the melting pot. Some of us are Catholic, some of us are Protestant, some of us speak English, some speak Spanish. And I don't see that we have to have an obsession with making everybody fit into the same cookie cutter. I mean, we can all be different kinds of cookies, if you will.
Muy buenas noches. Un helicóptero de la Marina.
They have their own TV, their own banks. Advertisers know how to speak their language. And so do politicians.
Soy el Senador Al Gore del Estado de Tennessee.
They even have their own hit movie, La Bamba, a story about a Mexican-American rock star written and directed by another Mexican-American, released in English.
I'm talking about making music, my music.
And Spanish.
Lo único que quiero es hacer música, mi música.
Because of their clout, many Hispanics believe they'll be able to stop the English-only drive. But the other side says it won't stop until English is the official language in every state in the United States, symbolic or not.
I believe it will be successful, but we won't stop.
Bernard Goldberg, CBS News, Miami.
Bats are the only mammal that can fly. There are more than 900 species of them. In the world of popular culture, the bat is represented by Batman, a good guy, and Count Dracula, the embodiment of evil. But what about the real world? As Harry Smith reports, events in a Texas cave indicate the tide may be turning in favor of the bat.
One of the prettiest sights in Austin, Texas is the Congress Street Bridge just before dusk. What you would probably rather not see is underneath the bridge, 750,000 bats heading out for the night. For most of us, the mere thought of a bat conjures up notions of disease and disgust. But that's wrong, according to Austin-based Bat Conservation International. Merlin Tuttle and his staff claim bats have been getting a bad rap for centuries.
They're vastly understudied, vastly underappreciated, and overly persecuted. It really is true that we're in a race against time to save many of these bats.
The threatening congestion and construction of San Antonio, Texas, is now within a few miles of the largest bat colony on Earth. The curious and the converted come to Bracken Cave to witness one of nature's greatest spectacles. Negotiations are underway that will ensure this cave, where more than 20 million bats live, won't end up with a condo on top of it.
It's very exciting. It's something that I've never seen before, and I'm really thrilled to be here.
Do you like bats?
I'm beginning to love bats.
Beyond the oh wow reaction is the fact that this colony eats 250,000 pounds of insects every night. Without them, simply going outside would be unimaginable.
Whatever we think of them, we need them around. And every time we lose another colony of bats, we jeopardize the health of an environment we all must share.
If your uncle told you bats are blind, get tangled in your hair, will attack on sight and give you rabies, your uncle, like everyone else's, was wrong. Bats are among nature's most gentle creatures. They really have more to fear from us than we have to fear from them. Misunderstanding of bats has led to their widespread slaughter. Many species are already extinct. Bats are competing for conservation dollars with baby seals and bottlenose dolphins. And in this battle for survival of the prettiest, Bat Conservation International thinks their winged friends have a chance, if only seen in the proper light. Harry Smith, CBS News, San Antonio.
And from inside what author Willie Morris once called the Big Cave, New York City, that's tonight's CBS Evening News. Dan Rather, see you tomorrow. Good night.